Morning, Tim.
Morning, Sherman.
How are you doing today?
All right. Yeah, thanks for the invitation to get an update.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm here with Tim Moody. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Pan Global Resources, which trades, of course, in Canada under the symbol PGZ. So Tim Moody with Pan Global. We wanted to give a quick update to shareholders and to investors on this expanding new copper discovery in southern Spain. So Tim, I'm just gonna hand it over to you. I mean, it's clearly a very exciting time for the copper space. We've been experiencing over the last couple of weeks some volatile markets. But I guess what my point today, Tim, is to sort of look through that noise and sort of build some awareness on a couple of really key things on copper as an investment. We don't need to go into detail on that, but we know that copper is one of the leading metals that investors should have exposure to in this transformation and electrification that we're going through, and just copper as an overall asset. And then secondly, if you can find a great company that it's available at the right price, like a Pan Global, then investors should really be positioning themselves where we've got a really interesting time right now where prices are actually very attractive, especially for a company like Pan Global that's had a significant discovery in Spain. So I'm not going to say any more. I just really want investors to look through, take a hard look at what Tim has to say. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Tim, for the next 5 minutes. So Tim Moody from Pan Global.
Yeah, thanks, Sherman. Yeah, so I think just to get to a couple of the points that you just asked about, Sherman. Well, firstly, I think nothing's changed as far as I'm concerned in terms of the short to medium term outlook for copper and perhaps long term as well. The emissions targets that governments around the world have set are still there, and copper is an essential ingredient for that to happen. So it's essential for electric vehicles, but it's also essential for just about every other facet of the emissions reduction programs that countries have. And I think the other thing which I think Pan Global has to offer is we have a near surface copper deposit, potentially open pittable, in a good location with a mining friendly area where it could be brought on stream this cycle, unlike perhaps some of the bigger, deeper deposits that are also being uncovered at the moment as well. So I think we've got a few things going for us. Whatever's happening in the market at the moment, it's obviously prefer it was going the other direction than it is at the moment. But I think we're pretty well placed when the market turns around. So that's my view on things, Sherman. So I think nothing's changed in terms of the generally positive outlook for copper, and particularly those in good locations.
And I 100% agree, Tim, and I think that's why I'm highlighting, to do this update, but also for people to become aware and realize, to be able to buy a story like Pan Global in the 60-cent level with that kind of a market cap is, may turn out to be a very significant opportunity.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, there is a new corporate presentation on the website, so I encourage any of the listeners to go and have a look at that. We'll be endeavouring to get some further news out just as soon as we can. But look, there's a hell of a lot going on at the moment. We've been really busy all year. It's not just about La Romana. I think we are working very hard on the many other targets we've got in this pretty big land package. So I'll perhaps just touch on that really. We're at, in terms of current activities, etc. We now have 2 drill rigs at La Romana. That drill program kicked off again recently, called our Phase 5 program. It's doing a number of things. We're looking at strike extensions east and west, and also looking up dip. We think there's potential to extend the near surface mineralisation to the south, and there'll be a couple of targeted holes down dip as well. So we're looking at 20 to 25 drill holes in and around La Romana. It's mainly looking to extend the deposit. In addition to that, we have a third rig on its way, and that'll be looking to test some of the regional targets. And as we define more targets ready for drilling in the broader area, we'll look to add additional drill rigs. So, what's going on at the moment? Well, we've just received the results of a detailed or high-resolution airborne or heliborne EM and magnetic survey. We're target picking at the moment. What I can say is there look to be a lot of targets in those new results, and we'll look to update people as we go along. We have an IP crew going. We've got 2 gravity crews running around, covering the entire area at a much higher resolution gravity set than we had before. That's confirming some of the existing anomalies. It's enhanced some of them, but it's also throwing out some new targets. So, we're trying to follow that up with some electrical geophysics where we can, a bit of advanced modelling. But we'll be looking to get drill rigs on some of these new targets, within the next couple of months. So, and flagged a 20,000 metre drill program this year, with the expectation that there will be potentially a further 20,000 metres to follow up any results the back end of this year. So, there's a hell of a lot going on. We're blitzing as many targets as we can at the moment. And it's going to be, things are all starting to culminate in what I hope will be a pretty interesting drill program going forward. So I'll just turn to this map at the moment. We're mainly focused on the targets in the north, mainly due to the targets in the south being affected by areas with harvesting, sunflowers, etc. But the harvesting will be done over the next sort of month to 2 months, and we'll start to get access to those areas as well. So, but at the moment, most of the work is focusing on this, and some of those targets are certainly getting very close to drilling. I expect we'll be drilling the Sarcita target, which is right up in the north.
Sure.
Perhaps 8 to 10 drill holes within the next few weeks. So that probably sums it up at this stage, Sherman. There's some new cross sections and long sections in the corporate presentation which show where Laramana is still open. It gives some sense of scale, but more than anything, it shows that the deposit is still very much wide open. It's continuing to grow, and providing we can get further access to the west, in particular towards the Laramana mine workings, I think it could grow several hundred metres further to the west in particular.
That's a great update, Tim, and it's going to be very helpful. I'm getting many calls, not only on just updates on Pan Global, but just sort of the nature of the markets. That's just the way it is in the retail business. Yep. We do a lot of calls with individual investors, so this is a great overall update for Pan Global. I guess I'd just like to close with just some final thoughts from you. I was reading an article, and it came out of looking at American Barrick or Barrick Gold, and some of the comments recently from Mark Bristow. And Mark's one of those really accomplished CEOs, and I remind people of Tim Moody, who I'm on the call with, his experience, and he former head of exploration for Rio Tinto globally, and Mark Bristow, who's one of the top CEOs of one of the biggest gold producers. He made a comment which I thought, he said, copper is the most strategic metal. Gold, of course, is precious, but copper is the most strategic metal. And, I guess just in closing, Tim, I know I'm super excited about copper, and I know you're excited about copper, and maybe just a final closing few comments on how important copper is to this world.
Yeah, well, it's a lot's been said about electric vehicles, but to reach these emissions targets that I mentioned earlier that have been set around the world, you're going to need more than just electric vehicles, more efficient engines of all sorts, etc. So copper is just a key ingredient for all of that. It's not easily substituted. It has a number of unique properties that mean it's got its industrial large-scale use, absolutely essential for the world to reach those new targets. So yeah, I'm very positive about copper. We can't go without it. And let's not forget that we've also got some tin, and that's also a key ingredient to some of these alternative energy sources, particularly solar panels, etc.
Well, and there's a great closing thought. I mean, and I've said this to a few investors, is that, you know, we really think about copper and tin and graphite and you know, all these sort of important rare earths and all these battery metals. They're really the new petroleum. I mean, if we look back, you know, years ago when the first combustion engine came rolling off the assembly line, you know, you shouldn't have bought a car manufacturer, you should have bought oil. That's what Rockefeller did. But what investors can do today is they can actually go out and make an investment in the new petroleum, which is these battery metals, and one of the most strategic being copper. So let's end it with that, Tim. I know we want to keep this short, and I look forward to the news that you're talking about that's going to be coming out soon, drill results, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Jim.